Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to share my first impressions of the Deity PR2 32-bit float audio recorder. Before we jump in though, a quick disclosure. Deity was kind enough to send me this product to review, but there were no constraints placed on what I could say. And as always, I've done my best to remain objective and honest based on my real-world experience so far. Let's jump in. When it comes to lav mics, there are a few things that are absolutely critical in my workflow. 32-bit float recording, strong battery life, an easy-to-use interface, secure cable locking, and solid mic quality. To me, a lav mic is an indispensable piece of any audio kit. Reliability and ease of use can make or break your shoot, especially when you're working solo like I often do. And this is actually my first lav outside of the Tascam ecosystem. I've used the Tascam DR-10L Pro quite a bit, and while I have a few small critiques of that recorder, it's been a solid workhorse for me. Naturally, when trying out the PR2, I found myself mentally comparing the two along the way. There's a lot to like about the Deity PR2. First off, the interface and menu navigation are incredibly intuitive. I find it simple, fast, and logical, and when you're setting up talent quickly, that matters a lot. I love that you can lock the recorder to prevent accidental stops. It's a small feature, but one that shows Deity really thought about real-world usage. Aesthetically, it's a clean-looking product, but more importantly, it sounds great. You're hearing the Deity PR2 right now in this video, and I've also used it for a few paid client gigs. Each time, the results have been crisp and clear. Of course, it records in 32-bit float, which has become the new standard for professional lavs, which still is kind of mind-boggling to me. If you're unfamiliar with 32-bit float, it basically means you no longer have to stress about setting the perfect input gain. Your audio won't clip, even if someone suddenly yells, and you won't have to deal with super noisy recordings if someone talks quietly. Personally, I still like setting my input levels to medium-high to get the waveforms looking right when I drop them into Premiere, but it's comforting to know that there is a safety net there. The battery life is another huge plus. Running on just 2 AA batteries, I've gotten close to 30 hours of operation. That's just outstanding and super important for long shooting days. One more cool feature, using the Sidus Link app, you can control the PR2 remotely from up to 250 feet away. In fairness, I rarely stop and start recordings remotely. I typically just let the lav roll all day to avoid any risk of forgetting to hit record. But it's a nice feature to have, especially because unlike the Tascam DR-10L Pro, you don't have to buy a separate Bluetooth adapter to make it happen. That said, it's not perfect. My biggest critique is the placement of the SD card. To access it, you actually have to remove the batteries, which just feels unnecessarily complicated. I get the idea that you're supposed to transfer files over USB-C most of the time, but there are definitely situations where swapping SD cards is faster and cleaner. It's not a deal breaker, but it's a design choice I'd love to see improved in future versions. Also, the battery door is trickier to slide open and close than it should be. Once it's locked in, it feels secure, but getting it there sometimes takes a little fiddling. It's not a huge problem again, more of a minor annoyance, but still something to be aware of. Naturally, people will want to know, how does it compare to the Tascam DR-10L Pro? At the time of making this video, the Tascam DR-10L Pro costs around $149 US. The Deity PR2 costs around $229 US. That's a pretty significant price gap. But here's something to keep in mind. The Tascam doesn't come with a micro SD card or batteries. The Deity PR2 does. And it also offers built-in Bluetooth functionality for remote control, without needing to buy a separate accessory like you would with the Tascam. When you factor in those extras, the price difference isn't quite as steep as it first appears. Personally, I do prefer the overall design, mic quality, and user experience of the PR2. But whether it's worth the extra cash ultimately depends on your workflow and what features matter most to you. All in all, I think the Deity PR2 is an incredibly strong addition to the world of lavalier recorders. It nails the basics: clean audio, long battery life, intuitive controls, reliable performance, and throws in a few quality of life features like remote control for good measure. If you're shopping for a professional 32-bit float recorder that you can trust in the field, the PR2 is absolutely worth considering. If you have any questions about it or want me to test something specific, drop a comment below and I'll do my best to help. But that's going to be it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.